Welcome. I am now going to show you how you record transactions for contingent liabilities if we decide that they are probable and estimable. If you haven't watched the video that explains what all of that means, go back and do that and then come back to this one. Okay, so we are Beefeater Inc. and we have been sued, and our lawyers believe that it is probable that we're going to lose. And the estimate is we're probably going to have to pay about $500,000. Okay, so we have a contingent liability that is probable and estimable. So we are going to book a debit to legal expense, lawsuit expense, some sort of expense. We'll call it legal expense for $500,000. And we are going to put our liability, it's going to be accrued expenses. And that's going to credit $500,000. All right, so now in the current period, we have expense of $500,000 and we have a liability for $500,000 because we believe it's probable and estimable that that is what we are going to pay. Then, as it turns out, we settle the lawsuit, and guess what? We settle it for $450,000. So we ended up a little better off than we thought. Okay, so first we are going to record the payment paying off the lawsuit. So we are going to debit accrued expenses. We don't need to debit expense again because we've already done that in a prior period. So we're going to debit accrued expense to reduce our liability of $500,000. And then we're going to credit cash because much like employees and landlords, people who sue you really want to be paid in cash and nothing else. So we're going to have to shell over, $450,000. I got the amount wrong. $450,000. All right. So we've paid the $450,000, we've settled the lawsuit, and we are all done. They're not going to be able to come back and get anything else from us. But we have an accrual for $500,000 in accrued expenses. We don't want that there anymore. There's still $50,000 sitting there, right? We credited accrued expense for $500,000, and then we debited accrued expense for $450,000. So I still have a $50,000 credit sitting in accrued expense. I don't need it anymore. I've settled the lawsuit. So I'm going to get rid of that by debiting accrued expense for $50,000. And I'm just going to credit legal expense for $50,000. So now my accrued expense is zero. The amount of legal expense I've booked is $450,000. The debit, when I estimated the liability of $500,000, and the credit, when I found out what it really was. So I've got $450,000 left over in my accrued expense account, and that matches the exact amount that we paid. All right, that is how you book an accrued or a contingent liability that is estimable and probable. See you next time.